Yeah, he is. He's a medieval Persian poet and a Sufi.
Is that Rumi?
No, his name is Sadi. Rumi's actually right up there. I believe that's Rumi. I'm better not to start pointing at these guys. Get it all wrong. He got up and started serving people around him and found his blessing. Again, the icon is not complete. I don't know the full sequence. It's just kind of all blended together. So this is one of the areas of the art in the church that didn't pan out quite as we had hoped. But yeah, we incorporate dance in all of our services.
And the dance is done with everyone forming. How many people is it?
Depending on how many people anywhere. Please have a seat.
You know what?
That we keep the gospel book in a Shinto shrine, and we also the presider gives the sermons from right over here on this seat, and it is actually an Indian howdah. This is a elephant saddle that royalty sit on when they ride elephants, I guess. So. Yeah, we've had to pull from a variety of different.
And so the person who was doing the preaching, who was giving the sermon,
remains, yeah.
Does it from a seated position.
Which, again, most of our church practice is based on 4th century, what we know of 4th century church practice. Why it's 4th century and not earlier is that that's as early as you can go and call a church before that, because of persecution. There weren't really churches per se, so this was we try to go back to the earliest example of community church liturgy and everything else. The floor plan is designed on a 4th century Coptic church, so that's a lot of what we do is always looking to, well, how did they do it, and as far as we know, how did the early church do things, and how can we do that in a contemporary way? We don't want it to seem very musty and like some reenactment or something. We want it to have a lot of life of its own, but we also do want to look to this particular parish wants to look to the early church as a model. Work here, and he was talking about the piece. The guy at the bottom is Saint Gregory of Nyssa, our patron saint, and he spoke a lot on the Song of Songs, or the Song of Solomon, and he saw it as a marriage between Christ and the soul. Jesus there on the left, and on the right is our soul. One of the few icons you'll see of the loving mother, God portrayed as the loving mother-in-law. Our church itself is in the background with the 2 spires, the baptismal font, etc. And the banner that's over that is, well, I'm actually not the icon expert, but I believe that when banners are over something in Christian artwork, that's talking about the Spirit being present. Am I...
Actually, all icons are painted, so it appears that the action is taking place outside.
Yeah.
And they indicate that it is, in fact,
inside by the banner.
By the drapery.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's what goes on in here.
So what do you see in that icon that tells you that this is indeed work? What makes it very different from the Western art? Which you haven't studied yet. What about the perspective? Remember the last class session? We spent a lot of time, and I had you draw perspective. And what you did was you learned the naturalistic, how to make something look real and to give it 3-dimensionality. Here we have an example of inverse perspective, so that at the platform that St. Gregory is on, it does not go back into space. What does it do? It comes forward. So that the vanishing point, remember the horizon line and the vanishing point? For this, the vanishing point would be out here rather than way in the back on the horizon. So this is called inverse perspective. And remember the stylized mountains? So whenever you see this form, you know that it is mountains or hills, but it's mountainous terrain. Did you hear his explanation of this? It is putting into visual terms the passage where Moses struck the rock and the water came out. So what else do you notice? What? The Coptic cross. That's right. What do you notice about the figures? The highlights and the groups. The what? Highlights. The highlights. it's not three-dimensional modeling. There are, it's a little sense of it, that there are no shadows. And why are there no shadows?
Yes. Because it's not from the other side, from the light. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
The light does not come from outside. That the light is being reflected from within these saints. And so if the light emanates from within the saint, you don't get the same cast shadows. What about the skin tone? Is it naturalistic? No. So there again, there is no attempt to make this a natural rendition. And remember, I told you the reason why is a theological reason. It is because what is being presented to us to emulate are the saints who have already run the course, fought the fight, and they've emerged on the other side. So they have attained holiness, sanctity. And so our task is the perspective and everything holds them up and presents them to us with the hope that we will model after them and become as they were. Amen. So they are really held out as role models for us. Now when we get into Giotto's work, you will see that his work is very naturalistic and the figures are very lifelike, and saying to us that what happens here and now is really important. It makes a difference. So we're invited into the light. Here we're presented. We're not invited into these scenes, but they are being presented to us.